All right, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you so much for being here today. David, thank you so much for inviting me. And let's get this show on the road, guys. Show me your stock picks, and I'm going to give you my take on them. All right, just let me know what you guys want to start with. But first of all, let me ask you a question. Let me know, type a 1 in the room, and let me know if you guys are mostly a swing trader or on the investor side. Swing and investing, type 1. Type 1 in the chat box. If you guys are more into the swing trading or into investing. All right. How about day trading? Type a 2 for day trading. Type a 2 for day trading. It's nice to know the audience. All right, so a lot of you guys are mostly day trading from what I can see here. All right. By the way, guys, the cues are rotating. Okay, very interesting. Rotation in the cues. All right, so let's get started, everybody. Okay, I have a first set, the cues and the spies from Vinod. All right. All right, let's check this out. So the cues, right? So the cues are into a very turbulent support zone. This is the daily chart. So we're going to start off with the daily chart. The first thing that we have noticed in the cues is that it violated yesterday's low and it punched in a little bit lower. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys know what week we're trading in. This is the option expiration week. And the price action is not true to value, it's not true to technicals, and it may have the tendency to meander until the final pin that is going to happen tomorrow towards the end of the day. So with that being said, anything can change throughout the structure of today and tomorrow, and even on Monday. The real true value of price and technicals will be represented only on Tuesday. So I just wanted to put out that disclaimer because it's very important to understand the trading environment and the trading conditions in which the price is trading at. Because very often, before I even dive into the analysis of the cues, the spies, and all the other stocks, you should know that option expiration is tomorrow and happens every third Friday of the week. And that is also called as the pinning of price. They love and they have the tendency to pin, especially the ETFs, at around whole numbers. So keep it in mind that. So there's a very strong possibility that we may see even a pinning going into, for example, right here into the 350s, or let's see, we're even into the 360. They love these kind of like whole numbers. They don't like to leave them at 63 or 68 or somewhere around that, around those levels. All right. So let's start with the analysis in the cues. First and foremost, the daily chart has violated yesterday's low, did a little bit of a slingshot lower, is still trading into a pivot support at 360. And it does have another massive support zone that is at 358, which is determined by the prior high and this low, which marks minor support. Why is minor support interesting and very important at this phase? Because if the price action will be violating this 357, let's say, area, it will most likely continue lower and it will gain a lot of weakness beyond this level. As long as this level, this horizontal level that you guys see that I'm holding my cursor on is holding, the more the price action will be in check and may have multiple bounces between now and all the way to this 357 zone. Minor support levels, the way that are represented on the daily by the prior high and the prior low, represent still trending spaces, still trending areas. And unless the support is broken, we can still talk about that it will still talk about NASDAQ as trending to the upside. So with that being said, the directional bias for today, I'm expecting the price action to be sideways and possibility of retracement into the 357. When we're looking for on the weekly context, we can already see that we have literally a day and about 4 hours left until the end of the week. And we're already seeing a huge topping tail with the pressure of price action into the downside. You can see here that we're getting, this is where we opened the week, we flurried higher, and now we're getting the selling pressure a little bit lower. Typically, if we will be ending the week tomorrow with this kind of bearish pressure, we are going to see more downside, most likely into the 350 level, around the 350, 351 level as we're going into next week. And this would be a pullback, a more aggressive pullback that will be lining up on the weekly. So for that being said, once the price trades below the 10 EMA, we can potentially see a continuation lower back into the 350 area. And this would be the short for next week. So anything that will trade below the low of this week, and then Monday, Tuesday, if we take out that low, you can expect pullback into the 350. So you can take notes of this, and if it's going to help you with your day-to-day trading. And this is what I'm seeing and what I'm pre-planning for next week, and especially for the cues that I look at every single day. And then we have one other thing that we need to look at, and this is the monthly chart. We still have 2 weeks of trading activity into the cues. Now, if you notice, the cues have been way stronger than the SPYs, than the diamonds, than the Russell within this whole year, within this whole transition from the lows from October all the way to the peak that we had in July. What we're seeing here, this is a classic sell pattern, the low of the price action, the current price action is taking the low of the prior month. So that means bearish. That is a sell setup. That is a rotational pattern that may produce more pullback all the way into the 340, but that is on the monthly structure because we analyzed that on the daily structure and we saw that 357 is the target one. And if we blow through that 357, then 350 and 340 are going to represent the next 2 targets to the downside. Now, why are we holding here? Because we have been holding in the overnight trading session quite a bit. We had a little bit of a flurry down, but then we're still holding, and we have a series of bottoming tails that I'm going to show you in a second, is because we are still trading into the tops of these candles. And these were from 2020, from last year. This is February, this is March, and this is April. And that's the reason why the price action is halting here a little bit. Now, I'm going to take you back here to a 1-hour chart so you can see the price action activity that we're getting. I'm going to squish the chart a little bit so you can see the dominance. The dominance is to the downside. We're having high, we're having lower highs, we're having a succession of lower highs and a succession of lower lows. This is the utmost definition of the power trend down, but it's a very choppy power trend down because in general, you need to see a 10 exponential moving average or a 20 simple moving average. And I would refer to the 20 simple moving average because it's the most common that traders use. And this is the blue line right here. Well, it has been pretty choppy at this point because we got the lift. The price went above the MAs, came back down, above the MAs, back down. But you can see one constant here that was on point with pretty much everything on the technical chart. The price is holding on the 1 hour below the 200 simple moving average. You saw strong rejection on Tuesday in the overnight on the 200 simple moving average, and the price collapsed. It actually broke down, and I want to show these levels because they're so predicting from this technical standpoint. So you can see here that we have strong support levels that is created by first low, second pivot, and the third pivot. So we have a W formation. We have a double bottom formation from which we bounced all the way to the 200 SMA. Like I said, we haven't had a following on the 20, which would be power trending, but we're still power trending down, but in an irregular way. And this week was because we have the option expiration week, and that makes it a lot more difficult to trade. But definitely we have noticed that we had pressure from the 200 SMA here. We had pressure from the 200 SMA over here. And now we're actually extending lower from that 200 SMA, and we're almost trying to establish a power trend down. Now, the power trend down would be if we start breaking this level of 360, that would mean that we are going to get a very shallow retracement. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit and reiterate what I said before about these triple bottom, the triple bottom that we have. This is actually like this, okay? And we have support here. Now, this support is now minor resistance. Minor resistance and minor supports are only present in powerful trends. Minor resistance is only in downtrends, and minor support is only in uptrends, and they're predictive of the next action into the market. So right off the open, this was extremely weak because of this super strong support level that created the weakness into these points right here. And you can see the clear rotation. It's almost so obvious to see it, right? So now I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the technical level so you can see what, we're trying to depict some kind of momentum, whether it's for day trading and for swing trading. And I was mentioning that we have a little bit of a buying pressure that is coming off of this pivot here. So we're having a little bit of a buying pressure, which is represented by these bottoming tails. So there's a bottoming that is being, it looks like it wants to develop. Now, when do we know for sure whether this bottom is going to develop or not? Well, the thing here is that the most important thing is we need to see it above this green high. And once we see it above this green high, if the price action is going to try to break a little bit above it, then we're going to get more buying pressure, and the price action is most likely to reach the 364, which was at the beginning of the session. But why is this price action holding here? I mean, that's the big question. And you can see here why, right? We have the same scenario that we had before. So that means that we're trying to enter a power trend to the downside. Now, I'm not saying that, and again, any kind of analysis that is being done this week, not only by myself, but everybody on the planet, may not be true to value and true to technicals until next week, because this is going to be the roller coaster. This is the roller coaster week. Typically with option expiration, you're going to get sideways market. You're going to get a big move up and a big move down. And that's not in any particular order. And especially the Qs, the SPYs, diamonds, and Russell, especially the indices, are going to be very susceptible to these kinds of pressure, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be aligned with this whole number. So right now, I was saying that we do have support, and we do have the minor resistance selling pressure at this point. If we manage to get above this prior candle high, this green candle that we have closed right here, this one, which is priced, let me give you the exact price because we could watch it live. This is 361.88. So we need to see the price over 361.90. If it takes out the 361.90, we're going to get a zip up to 362.50. Okay, so this is for smaller time frames. For those of you guys that are day trading, for those of you guys that are, trying to take some scalps during doldrums, forget it. Like I'm not trading doldrums, but anyways, we're talking about technicals. And now not how I trade in my style. It's all about you here. But you can see the rounded bottom here on the 5-minute, right? And you could also see here on the 30-minute that you're already trying to get some pressure to get it into the 10 EMA. All right, so this is basically what I'm seeing here in the Q. So again, further continuation lower, possible all the way to 357. If today we're going to bounce off of these lows, we may have a little bit more room to the upside into 362.50. And then, as I was saying, this is a conclusion. Next week, look out, because if we take out this week's low, down we go into the 350. And I had another question for the SPYs. We're going to keep it a little bit shorter into the SPYs to cover more symbols here. The SPYs, it was very obvious it has hit this double top of resistance, right? It has been power trending like so for a very long time. This is the first attempt at, and by the way, this is the weekly chart. This is the first attempt at a breach of the 10 EMA power trend. We have a 1-2, and it's almost safe to say 3 down, because weeks down, because tomorrow is the last day in which this candle is going to be trading. Typically, on any kind of 1, 2, 3 down, you can expect a reversal pattern. So if next week we're going to take out this week's high by here, by trading over this week's high, which would be right here where the black line is, we would get a continuation back up, and we are going to get back into the pattern, and most likely this will lead to a break of this prior resistance into the 460. And will lead probably to a continuation higher back into the 480 area. However, the downside, right? So these are 2 scenarios for price action going into next week. And going into today, we're going to review it in a second. However, if we break the low next week, Monday, Tuesday, and we actually continue lower, we're going to have room to pull back into the 430. That's going to be a target 1. And then the next target is going to be into the 420. So it's going to move in $10 increments. So it's going to be 430, 420, and so on. And then where we'll have another move to the downside right into this space right here. And this is on a weekly perspective for those of you guys that are looking to swing trade or do options, calls or puts, or whatever you want to do. And then from the daily perspective, be very careful, because this is a very thick layer right here of support. All this layer here is support. So we're going to be very careful. This is the first time for the last 2 days in a very long time since the price has visited or actually trading below the 50 SMA. The last time the price was trading below the 50 SMA was back here when that was in March. You can see it here in March. Okay, so since March, the price action has been trading, as you can see, above this 50 SMA, right? This is the first time when it's trading below it, okay? And we can see here that once we had a cross below it, we had a pullback, right? So this is a little bit of price symmetry, okay? Here we had, you could go back in time and you could see every time we had a violation of that 50, we started a much steeper retracement. So a little bit steeper retracement. So this is on the daily side. So on the daily side, careful here, because we're still respecting this support. We're still seeing a lot of bottoming tails on the intraday action, and that is on a smaller time frame action. This is, in fact, the 30-minute, and you can see here that we have a bottoming tail right formation, meaning buyers are coming in. We're still respecting the overnight support in the SPYs. You guys see that we're respecting the close on Friday, right? You can see it right there. It's very, very evident. And now you're seeing the bounce off of this, right? So you're seeing the bottoming tail, buyers are coming in. So throughout the trading session today, and this is for today's action for those of you that are day trading, If the price gets above this high, it needs to be above this high, that 439.66. If it takes out that level, it's going to squeeze into the 440. That's not going to change any kind of structure on the macro level. And that means on the weekly charts, daily charts, and what have you. But this is, I'm trying to accommodate day trading strategy with swing trading strategies, because you guys here are mixed. Some of you are day trading, some of you guys are swing trading. So this is what I see over this high, over again, over a 439.66. It will squeeze into the 440, at which point there's going to be another decision, right? And if the price is going to punch through the 440, then it's going to swing a little bit, 20 cents higher. So it's going to be very hard to move to the upside. Okay, but it's possible. That's how reversals happen. So you need to read the clues. And at this point, when the price action is going to get over this candle high, you will talk about a triple bottom formation, right? However, if the price is going to break below this 438.97, which is the lowest point for today, you can expect more down price action into the $438. And that's going to be a next decision point into the market. All right, so this is the cues and the SPYs, macro level, intraday level, if you will. 1 hour is as well very evident. The 1 hour is actually showing that the 440 is going to be a buy trigger. So actually, if you're getting that 30-minute trigger right here, you have the confirmation that if it takes out the 440, it's going to start moving higher. Okay, so it's very easy analysis. It's one-on-one price action with technical patterns and with strong technicals of support and resistance at this point. All right, so let's talk about the next symbol, SPX, which is pretty much the same thing, tomato, tomato. Okay, so we're gonna take it all the way to, let's take it to the weekly first. Okay, let's do this. Let's go to the weekly. All right. So basically, the pattern is identical with the SPYs, but obviously I'm going to give you different prices for it, Paul. So as you can see, we have the 1, 2, 3 down. This is the first time that we're trying to test the 10 EMA. The next support level is going to be confluence into the 43.25. And that is for the week. If we close week tomorrow, then tomorrow, if we take out, and this is a critical level to 4,400, because 4,400 is the round number and they love pinning the SPX at round numbers, 4,400, 4,500, 4,600. They love doing that. So bottom line is that next week, if the price action is going to be, if this low is going to be taken out, expect next week to continue into the 4,300. However, if you're looking at an like on a day level, you can see that there's still some support here. It's around the 4,400, so it's going to get wiggly as we're getting about 5 to 7 points around that zone. But this is still strong support level right here. We're trading in between these highs and these lows. And at this point, we created this bull flag formation with a little bit of a hook to the upside. So this becomes very strong in the sense of hold. So we'll see. So keep that in mind. Anything that trades below tomorrow end of the day low, definitely, and the week close low, it's going to probably continue lower. And on the upside, any kind of rotation that we're getting on the daily is going to have a substantial, it's most likely going to have a substantial move to the upside. Okay. All right. So this is, what I'm seeing right now into the market, into the Qs, the SPYs, into the SPX. From the monthly structure that I didn't point out, in case you're looking for a longer term projection, we do have a high here. We have a beautiful rotation that has happened. This is actually a gorgeous fib that we have from the pandemic low to the pandemic high, right? And I could actually trace it so you guys can see it because it was amazing. Let me just pin it here. Whoops. All right, so you can see that it went full 50% retracement, 50% from swing high to from swing low to swing high, and right now it still has this void to fill. Keep in mind that if throughout tomorrow we start breaking 43.80, so remember that I talked about the fact that we need to hold that 4,400, let's say for about 7 points, let's call it 10 points around the area. If we start breaking below 43.80, that is a sign that we're going to get a retracement, and most likely it's going to be to 4,200. Okay, so that's going to be a much steeper retracement, and that's going to be aligned with also the seasonality, because the seasonality for the spies, for the spies in general, is pretty sideways towards a little bit downtrending. It's more weak. It's actually weaker for the Qs, and it's stronger for the Dow. So Dow has the tendency for the month of August to hold the pattern. Russell has the tendency to pull back a little bit more. So relative weakness in Russell, which so far has been playing pretty well. However, as we're approaching the end of August, keep in mind that seasonality is suggesting that the price action may start moving higher. Okay, so seasonality suggests that towards the end of the month, we're going to start moving a little bit higher. And then September is going to be, September by definition is the most difficult month to trade throughout the whole entire year. You have a lot of events that are happening. You have the quadruple witch, you have FOMC, you have contracts expirations in futures. You have a lot of things that are happening, rollovers in the futures, in the major indices. You have a lot of holidays that are in September, and in September in general, the volume is very low. Plus, you have the end of the quarter. Volume is definitely going to go down. Everybody is still into vacation mode, so Wall Street is not ready to commit that much for the month of September, and that is for every year, historically speaking. And then we're getting ready for the last quarter, the last hurrah into the market. All right, so as I was mentioning, for example, for the SPYs and for the Qs, we're going to dive into the 1 hour as well. And I'm going to show you again the first signs of the bottoming tails. And this is going to happen now, Paul. So if you're on the day trading side into the rest of the day trade, if the price action goes above 44.08, so 44.08, it's not there, right? It's not yet there, but 44.08. The price action is going to snap up all the way to 44.13, and this is as close as possible as you could get it towards a day trade. Okay, because if we would have discussed earlier, I would have given you the 44.02. Okay, all right. So this is with the SPX. William is asking about FNGU, and let's take this back to a daily. All right. Okay, FNGU. All right, first off, just because this is the first stock that we're going to be discussing right now, FNGU. This is Bank of Montreal. First things that I'm noticing, this is something that doesn't fit my personal trading plan, but it doesn't mean that, you know, it should not fit your trading plan. First of all, it's trading under 1.2 million shares on a day-to-day basis, and I don't trade anything under 1.2 or 1.5 million on a day-to-day. You're going to see extreme gaps in between price action. I'm going to give you that example. So if you go to a 1 minute chart and you're going to see like gaps like this, you can see it here at 12 o'clock. It went from 156.92 all the way to 157.11. All right, that means that it has a really wide spread and it's a junk stock. Okay, so just to let you guys know what you guys are trading and what you guys are, you know, giving your thoughts into. So for me, this one would be out the door. I wouldn't even look at it. But from the technical standpoint, from the analysis standpoint, just because it's so junky, I'm going to look directly to a monthly chart, and the monthly chart suggesting that it has entered a sell pattern, and the sell pattern is has entered into 174.44. And it looks like it's still going to continue lower, probably into the 140s, if not more. And then from the day perspective, it violated the first level of support into 166.70. And right now is kind of like trading because it has a bottoming tail into the 156. So 156 is going to be a level that probably most likely it will hold at one point. And if it's going to get violated, then down it goes to 134, 130, and probably to $100. So it's not a healthy stock. William, if it was for me, if you're in, you probably have a game plan for it, but I would just take it off the list if you're not in. All right, VV is asking about VXX. Okay, so VXX is into a rotational pattern, and we have the low and we have a higher low, not quite a higher low. This is not a confirmed higher low. We need to see the close in price over $25.50. If we see the price above $25.50, and especially if we see it above 26 or 26.20, the market is going to go into a massive implode mode, and you're going to see the levels that we have spoke about in the Qs, the SPYs, SPX so far, that are going to reach the targets that we have predetermined, and we have seen on the technical side. So once again, anything that trades above these levels is going to it's going to produce an implosion into the market, and most likely the VXX is going to go 28 or even more. From the weekly perspective, it's not there yet because it needs to take out last week's high. Last week's high is 27.21. So you need to see it above that high. And once you see it close above this 10 EMA and the prior high, so set an alert for it, because if you set your alert at 27.25, right, like so, and just very easily 27, whatever, let's just leave it here. Okay, keep the alert over here. It's going to snap probably to 30 on a weekly basis. So that means that the price action in the stock market is going to implode. But don't take your trading decisions today and tomorrow, guys. Please don't do that. This is the worst week to talk about stocks and the worst week to talk about analysis in stocks. Trust me, I've been trading for 25 years and I know a thing or two about the stock market, you think? All right, so the next one is going to be UVXY. All right, so in UVXY, all right, basically tomato, right? You're looking at the same thing, different levels. So basically here, the pop-up point is going to be $20.80. It pops above $20.80. It's going to go most likely into the 26.50, 26.70. In which case, yes, the market will implode at that point. Okay. And from the daily as well, you can see here it has the same scenario. So whether you look at VXS or UVXY, it's the same thing. So low, you pretty much, if we get the price over these highs, over $20, you're pretty much going to see a higher low formation here that will be conducive for a squeeze higher into VXX and UVXY, and that will point a little bit higher. I wouldn't put too much thought into levels that are being discussed this week, because next week is going to be the true determination of price action. Right now, we're trading under the option expiration. All right, some other stocks that you have for me? Other stocks, indices, whatever you guys have. Of course, VV, anytime. And if you have anything else that you would like me to look at, more than welcome to take a look. CVNA. All right. CVNA. Let's take a look. This was like a what? This was like a 1 week wonder, and now it's getting rejected. Keep in mind, guys, that these type of stocks are getting, let me just put it on a far out time frame here, far out window. Here's the thing. These stocks that are into oversold, they are likely to enter short squeeze areas. Now, when you trade these type of stocks, you have to be very attentive to not only to the levels but to the prices, because typically in stocks like this, for example, because we're talking about Carvana, you're getting price targets into whole numbers, like 50 bucks, right? Like 50 bucks, like 20 bucks, 50 bucks, 30 bucks. Okay. If the price action, this month is going to produce this inside formation, this is going to be very obvious, because as we're getting, but we can have this discussion, let's say 2 weeks from now, because that is when the next decision is going to come in Carvana. It's not going to come today. It's not going to come next week, and it's not going to come the following. You need to close the month of August. And when you close the month of August, wherever that's going to lead with the high and the low, it's going to be bullish above or bearish below for September. Okay. So look at price action September 1st. And if the price action is going to take out the August high, boom, it's going to go higher. How high it can go? Well, it has a lot of room to the upside. It has resistance into the $90 from these highs. And the next target is 100 bucks. Typically, anything that breaks 100 bucks, the next target is going to be 120, which is in line with technicals here because it's 125. Okay, so I hope that helps. All right, any other stocks that you guys want my take on? We still have about 30 minutes left. Do you guys want to review the cues? Ta-da-dum. I love it. I love it. I love, I love to see how price action is reacting. And okay, let's just go here. Remember what I said? Does anybody remember here? If it trades over this high, the cues, if they trade over 361.88, I said that they're going to go where? 362.80, right in here. Remember I said that? Here it is. Here it is. I also mentioned it here on the 15-minute. That's probably going to get a pin over here. And same with the SPYs. Let's take a look at the SPYs. You guys remember the levels that we talked about in the SPYs. Ta-da-dum. Trading is not complicated. Holding support, rotating above the high 440 over the, over 440 over this high, pinching higher. It's probably going to go 441 at the end of the day today if we get a close, on the 1H above this 10 EMA. All right. Okay. Next stock is XOM. Let's take a look at XOM. This is a great dividend stock. Amazing dividend stock. I am in XOM, by the way, quick disclaimer. And it's getting a daily rotation. So energy stocks are stronger. I don't know if you guys, how many of you guys in here trade futures? Type of 1. Because we're seeing relative strength in heating oil, then we're seeing a little bit of relative strength in crude and RBOB, which rolled yesterday, and it's in the middle of a decision point. Okay, but anyways, XOM, yeah, so XOM, it has strength because of the energy stocks. All the energy stocks are holding, they're strong. Okay, so yes, we have a daily rotation, which is in line because we have a low and we have higher low and higher low onto the daily. So most likely the next target is going to be back into the 112 area, the weekly structure. What I do love about XOM, and I have it in my swing portfolio as well as in my investment portfolio, is the beautiful break that it has on the monthly. So you can see here over 109. It has room to go into 120, at least into the first target. And this could be, I don't know, into the end of the year. We'll see. Okay, so it's going to take a couple of months probably, or a few months to get it into this level, but we're holding the 100 level. Remember, we talked about the whole number psychology. Bam, here it is. Here's the 100 level in line with this beautiful confluence support that we're having, right? We're having the beautiful rising 20. We're having this peak high that is creating that minor support level for XOM. So XOM is great from the investing side. This week is actually in a limbo because it's into a indecision. Okay. However, if next week we're going to top off these two highs right here, these little twin towers into the 112, over 112, this is bullish. Okay. All right. So anything else for me? Could it be futures? Could be anything. but we already talked about the Qs, SPYs, so S&P is just in line with the Qs and the SPYs. All right, IONQ. Wow, nobody's asking about Tesla, Apple, Microsoft. Guys, what are you guys doing? What are you guys trading? What are you guys trading? I mean, oh my gosh, go where the institutional power is. Okay, let me check IONQ. All right. What's the first thing that we check, guys, is the volume, okay? And we check the volume on the daily, so we switch to the daily chart. All right, so we see that it's trading 6 million. This is what we like. We want heavy volume, right? Okay, so we had a high here in on the 1st, and we started melting. We also have a lower high formation. This is a nice cone formation with a slight lower. It's trading into support all the way to about $12. Okay, 12. This is minor support, $12. So all this area is support right here. It's nothing that is decided right now. So this one is junky right now, RM. So it doesn't show you the strength or weakness. It shows you to stay the heck away from it. From the daily, from the weekly perspective, if it next week it takes out $16.80, it's going to be bullish. If it takes out $12, it's most likely going to pull back into $10.80. IWM. I'm going to show you something interesting in IWM on the monthly. Okay, so I'm going to take this out. All right, so here is IWM, which has a very interesting formation because it has been holding for a relatively long period of time, a level. Here's the level right here. Okay, so we have two highs right here, as you guys can see. And these highs are not recent highs, but these highs are coming from 2018 and 2019. So this is 2018, this is 2019. So we had a very strong resistance at this point. Later in 2020, with post-pandemic price action activity, Fed printing money, you get it, all that fun stuff. We finally got a massive break through this hefty resistance that was multi-year resistance. So we finally broke out. We went up, and then when we came back down, we came down into these highs over here. So remember that we talked a little bit about minor support, minor resistance. Well, this is strong resistance. And right now, this resistance is creating that minor support. And you can see here how strong it is. So as long as we don't violate the bottom of this 160 level, and you can see that you can't, this is not a support level where it's more linear in the sense of cents, in the sense of pennies, or let's say $1 or $2, but it's a very strong resistance from 160 to about 175. So it's a really strong band. So anybody that is attempting, to trade it, and we're talking about this chunk right here, anybody that is attempting to trade this with a tight stop, okay, it's going to be blown out. Okay, you got to give it a lot of room. And remember, this is the monthly. So decisions are mostly coming and influenced by the monthly. This week is coming down. Like I said before, seasonality is playing a major role in these indices. These are tendencies, historic tendencies that pretty much have been pretty accurate so far. And you guys can see here that actually I can bring a seasonality chart of this. If you give me like 3 minutes, I can pull one up. But this is nothing but a pullback here into this support zone between 180 and 185. Let's see how this is going to get handled from the daily perspective. Okay, from the daily perspective, we still have room for lower. So I could see easily a pullback into the 182 in IWM. And there's, at this point, there's not a case for the long side, but probably a slow bleed, and it's going to be a slow bleed if we get one. Like I said, review the charts. And again, this is not a good time for charts and for analysis, because if you tune back and if you re-listen to this recording, you're going to see that most of the analysis that was done today is going to be challenged next week. Okay, so all the levels are going to be getting challenged next week. All right, so this is IWM from a macro level and from a daily level. From a daily level, we can expect more pullback. From a macro level, it could start holding into that 184 to 182 level. So I hope that that makes sense. All right, let's move on to Microsoft. Oh, there's is that Mark? Is that HO? Is that heating oil? I didn't see that. Is that heating oil? HO. I want to take them in order. HO. What is HO? Is that heating oil or is what? Okay, I'm just going to skip that. Okay, no answer. Okay, let's talk about Microsoft. And if you come back, maybe you let me know whether HO you're referring to heating oil or what else you're referring to. All right, so Microsoft has been holding really well. Now, hindsight, nobody was asking here about the Dow, right? The Dow is a very important component, which the Dow was the one index that actually held really well throughout this whole entire ordeal that we have had into the market with the pullback. That is in sync again with all the seasonality to pull back. So if you know a little bit about seasonality, you can expect a pullback. But Microsoft has been holding really well this, let's call it the 319 level. And the reason why it's holding it so well is because if you look on the monthly chart, I'm sorry, on the weekly chart, not the monthly chart. If you look on the weekly chart, it's trading into a core level of confluence support. So it has the 20 SMA right here. It has these highs over here that are, these are creating buying pressure, and this is creating buying pressure as well. So all in all, watch it for next week. And if next week you're going to get push over this week's high, get it long. If you're getting below this week's low, short it. So it's going to be super easy. You buy it over the high, you sell it over the low, bullish above, bearish below, and that's it with Microsoft. So Maggie, that was your Microsoft. Amazon, you know, Amazon can stay strong only for a period of time, because if the market is weakening, obviously even the strongest stocks are going to follow and they're going to start moving lower. But Amazon is still holding relatively well. It hit the 20 SMA today. Again, the minor support. And why do you hear me talking about minor support all the time is because we're still in uptrends. This is just a pullback. It's nothing significant. It's just a pullback. Markets pull back. What do you know? Okay, so this is just a pullback, 20 SMA. Very interesting to see where they want to pin it tomorrow, because if we take out today's high, there's a strong possibility we may have a rally tomorrow in the first couple hours in the morning or into lunch. And we may have a faded action in the afternoon, or we may have a sideways type of chop in the morning with a trigger later in the afternoon and continue until about 3 o'clock or 3:30, and then the day is going to fade out. But typically it's into a very strong support zone. I'm looking for every possibility to play this trade. If there is one stock that I would like to play every single time when it sets up, it's going to be Amazon, because Amazon has really nice price action movements. From the weekly perspective, anything that takes out the 141.80 is going to be bullish. And if it starts taking out the 129.50, then it's going to be bearish all the way to the 120, but that's not going to be for a very long time. All right, Maggie is asking also about Apple. All right, so here we have Apple. This is the Apple on the weekly. We have 1, 2, 3 down into a cluster of support right here. This is going to be a top watch, because if next week, and write it down, if it takes out the 180, it's going to be bullish. If it takes out this week low, it's going to be bearish. Most likely, we're going to start pulling back to about 160. BA. Okay, so BA as well is into a pullback phase. It finally broke out from this range. These are weekly charts, by the way. I'm looking for the swing trading perspective on these. So we have this base, we have support into the 192 and change. We have the breakout that occur over 124.50, and we're still holding above the base. So it would be interesting to see if we hold the 223 And from the weekly perspective, we get the price over 240. It's going to go back into bullish mode. But if it grinds, I would not be interested in the short side, not at all. All right, next stock is NEO. All right, so NEO 1, 2, 3 pulled back. Careful. I kind of like this scenario. See where it closes tomorrow. At the end of the day tomorrow, it's going to be bullish above. So far $12.58, and it's going to be. I'm not going to look for the bear side, but it has a strong possibility to retrace just below $10. But it would be interesting for the bullish case because it has the 1, 2, 3 and possible up over this week's high. AMD. All right, AMD price action weakening, and as you could see throughout this week, the price is leaving a huge tail onto the weekly. So also notice the price where it's trading at right now into the 105.50. It's trading into this prior peak high. So this is what's holding it right now. We have developed this uptrend. I don't know if this is hard to kind of like predict what's going to be doing because it has been basing for so long and it's still hooked into this 20 SMA. Definitely the monthly chart suggests that it may come back into the $100. Okay, so be very careful with this. If you're in AMD, 106 is a level of reference. But if it starts trading way below that, and you can see it here testing the 105.50 or so, there's a strong possibility they may want to come back to 100 to 102, $100 and $100. And from that point on, if it's not going to hold these two levels right here, it could have a more steeper pullback in case, you know, the VIX, if the VIX are going to go wild to the upside, you're going to see the whole market start crashing. Okay, Tesla. Okay, so Tesla on the monthly. Okay, Tesla, it's right into support. It's right into support right here. See how it closes. And based on how it closes, we may have a directional bias. I would go as far as looking here on the weekly as well. So this is going to come in baby steps, especially after the pullback and the chop that the market has been into. So if the price action next week is going to take out this high, look for a long. And if it breaks the low, this is going to be a little bit more difficult because it has so much support here from these lows from back in June of last year. And of course, these highs from February, but it may start retracing to about 207. So from 220 to 207, it has quite a significant void, but I would like it more to the bullish side. That's just me. Jay's asking about SQQQ. All right, and SQQQ into a rotational pattern onto the weekly, still trading into the 10 EMA. It's kind of it has a hook here. It has a tendency to break through the 10 EMA and then pull back. So very careful here because it could pull back into very close to the 20 SMA and then it could fade again. The daily chart is into the clear. It still has a lot of resistance into $20.80. So careful there. Okay. NVIDIA. All right. NVIDIA. I actually like NVIDIA for the day. Look, I'm not going to be trading tomorrow. Tomorrow I don't trade. I don't trade option expiration days, period. But if tomorrow the price action is going to get over 147.60, this is going to be bullish as we're heading into 823. Okay, so that's next week. I'm not at this point in this. I see a huge bottoming tail. I don't know. This is in a limbo. This is you want to trade it before earnings. Like I would stay in, like if you're in, NVIDIA is a good stock to be in. Any kind of crash in it, it's a good opportunity to add to it. But as of this point, it doesn't suggest that it has a buy setup. It has a buy setup tomorrow if we take out the 447.20. So that would be a buy. But I think that, I don't know. The reason why I'm saying I don't know is because it's the option expiration. Other than that, I would tell you exactly where the entry, the stop, and the targets are for that. But I'm just refraining from that. Rachel Heating Oil, HO. Okay, so HO is the strongest from the energy levels, from the energies. And in fact, natural gas, keep an eye on natural gas for those of you guys that are trading futures as well. We rolled yesterday, so we have so basically we're trading the new contract right now. I hope everybody knows this is in sync, because this is the October contract. This is the V23. This is the October contract, even though we have about 14 days left left in September. But what I'm looking at is into the October contract. So in case you want to get into a swing trade, you don't have to worry about rolling. It does have room to go back up into the $3.20. So heating oil, very hot right now. And I was mentioning natural gas. I'm just gonna, if you allow me to bring it up, natural gas is also trying to pinch a little bit higher. And this is the September contract. Then we're gonna roll into the October contract, which actually is have the volume that the September contract has right now. This one is a little bit into resistance, but watch it not on the monthly, watch it on the weekly. All right, watch it on the weekly, see this week's activity, because next week over $2.80 may be bullish. Okay. XLF, I like that idea with the XLF, because we have had pretty strong financials lately. This is the first sign that financials are getting a little bit weaker. In fact, XLF is much weaker than Goldman Sachs or AXB or any bank out there. So basically, let's go to the daily here. So the daily is holding a massive support level. This is the line in the sand, this flat 200 SMA, the line in the sand. Anything that trades above it is going to be seen as institutional power still buying into those levels. 34 needs to hold for it, and we don't want to see a close below 34. A close below 34 is going to bring lower prices, and therefore shorting opportunities. Anything that holds above is still into a pretty nice trend. Meta. All right, Meta pulled back right into support, and it's still trading into the 288 zone. It has a doji. Surprised? I'm not, because it's option expiration tomorrow. It looks like I would look at from the weekly perspective, and anything that takes out 306.75 is going to be bullish next week. If it's going to take out the 290 tomorrow, not today. So whatever the low is going to, I don't know, maybe it's going to go to 280 tomorrow. I don't know. I'm not going to take any decisions today and tomorrow. But if it takes out this week's low next week, it's going to go lower. All right. Yeah, XLF. XLF. I got it. It's funny the way the brain works, because I saw XFL and I did the XFL. The brain has the tendency to untangle symbols. I mean, this is crazy. All right, and because you brought up the XLF again, I just want to show you charts of Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs right here. So from the daily perspective, this was the one thing that was green this morning, and it's still into the green, so it's not giving up, right? So you can see the little green right here. And other than that, I don't know. I guess this is pretty much a wrap. Okay. If you don't have any other symbols, I'm just going to bring up very quickly here. If you like my line of work, I have been doing this for over 25 years. Like I said, I have been on the investing side and swing trading side for so long. And I'm going to put the link right here for you guys. This is my swing trading program. What I do in the swing trading program is I call trades. We have a newsletter that is being sent out on Monday night, and we analyze the context. I analyze the context, and we do the pre-market game plan for the whole entire week. And we actually call trades. You could see we have track performance. That is right here. Okay, so every trade is accountable for. The program has started actually in 2010, actually in 2018, in 2008, but I accidentally deleted the records, but I do have them in my portfolio in case you go like, oh, I wonder what she was trading in 2008. Yeah, okay, I have that in my account, but you could go 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, blah, 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 all the way to 2023. So these are our trades. So the way we call the trades, we call the symbol with the exact entry, the exact stop, targets, and once the targets get fulfilled, we start into our trail mode, and you can see the exit prices, and this is the performance for 2023, and we go like this. All right, and you can see the price, the totals right here. And for example, this is for June. So you could go here. There are several trades that are still open, and I need to update them. I update these on the last day of the month, and I don't really revisit them. So more likely that some of these trades have already been, for example, Boeing has been closed, JP Morgan has been closed. Like a lot of trades in here have been Cisco is still at Cisco, by the way, hit today the 55 target. So if you guys like what you're hearing, definitely head on to the swing trading program right here. We also have, let's see if we have it here. All right, let me just okay, we have a private Twitter feed right here, and we have you're receiving timely updates. So for example, if you're in a trade, you go like, well, I don't know, I have a full-time job, I really don't have time to track it. I tell you what to do. You need to set alerts, you need to do this, plus you receive a private Twitter feed. Don't try to follow me because you're not going to get us accepted unless you email us back with your handle. But Cisco take some profits here at 55, so you're getting, the idea of what is happening. Walmart reporting, FCX here, so you can see most of the stocks that we're in. Amazon, what we're doing, Cisco again, Disney. So you have a lot of comments in here and analysis for throughout the week. So it's not like you're going to receive an email and I'm going to forget totally about you. All right, this is it, guys. Thanks so much, David, for inviting me. Remember, if you want to go, the link is right here. It's the program is called the Stock Swing Trader, and I'm really looking forward to working with you if you want to achieve your trading goals by swing trading. So thanks so much, David. Thanks, everybody.